how did this unfold? How did this come about for you, and why was this, the right opportunity for you?
Well, first and foremost, when, Bismarck State jumping into the frontier in the NAI, and you start looking at programs that, man, I'm going to have to recruit against them. How am I going to win on recruits? Things like that. And then it started to be, oh, this is a good place. They're doing a lot of great things here. And, knowing Myron and a lot of people that we knew of the same people and information I was finding out and things like that. And, got a phone call, and then it's just, that's how it happens, right? It happens quick.
Yeah. For you, I mean, after being somewhere for a while and kind of being established, why did you feel like this was a good career move at this point?
It was tough to leave Rocky Mountain College. There are a lot of great people there, very supportive. The kids, obviously, our players and our recruits were phenomenal, the assistant coaches. But was kind of looking for something new. Not in a bad way for them or anything like that, but I thought it was kind of intriguing and pretty cool to be able to bring back a program, start a program, whatever you want to use. It's kind of like, hey, do you want to buy a house or build a house, right? And so I think it was a lot of intrigue that it just kind of all hit, and made the decision, and very excited for it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next thing. When you talk about where you're starting here, as something completely different, completely new, what excites you about that?
I think from just a little bit different of whether it's going from Montana to North Dakota, familiarity was a good side of that. Not anything new, but familiar with the frontier and the different programs in there, and then looking at the different things that I think can be achieved here, and so excited for that. And but again, it's just kind of new. We'll get going with everything here pretty quickly. I probably want to get started quicker than what needs to happen, and I'm going to be I don't know what I'm going to do next Saturdays in the fall. It's been 15 years of coaching football every Saturday in the fall, and so I haven't really wanted to think about that, but excited for it, and ready to get going, and hopefully make people really proud that are here.
Obviously, you've had a chance to lead your own program for a while now, but when you talk about the building blocks of something that's completely new, where does that start? What does that look like from your vision?
Well, I think the first thing is getting to know Bismarck State College, and understanding what they're looking for, and making sure, I think we gel on a lot of things, but them understanding, hey, this is the path that I think we need to go, and how we need to do things, and then working with the administration and understanding how they want to do things. And again, getting to know this institution from top to bottom, and getting to know everybody that I can, to make sure that we're bringing in the right kids, the right coaches that are a good fit for here.
Yeah. After spending so much time as a head coach, I mean, what did you learn in those 7 years that you feel like you're kind of bringing here that maybe you want to do differently, or you feel like you can build upon, either way?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is not thinking I know everything, not thinking I have a set plan that it has to be done this way with every little detail. Again, listening to the administration, talking to other coaches throughout the country that I know that started a program, or brought a program back, and trying to find out from them, like, hey, what really worked, and what were things that you wish you would have done differently. But still having our set identity of who we want, what kids we want to bring in, coaches, and those things. So there's still a lot of unknowns. We'll get it figured out day by day. I'm going to make mistakes every single day. I tell our kids that. They will too. But we're going to make sure we do it the right way.
When you talk about unknowns, I mean, the whole thing was the first step is launching the program, and then the next step was, all right, head coach is the next thing. So now that the head coach is in place, what's your first step that you have to worry about and concentrate on?
I think the biggest thing is getting the staff in place. I know there will be some steps to that. And then getting recruits here, making sure that they're comfortable. We do want to sign a class this February. And so reaching out to, there's a lot of kids that have already signed places, and that's okay. We want people that want to be a part of Bismarck State College, and part of the bringing the program back. And we'll find those right guys, I hope they're right down the road. And then we'll bring some in from outside areas, and making sure, again, I don't care where you're from, what you look like, what you did, but making sure you're the right fit for us, and we're the right fit for you.
Yeah. I guess I hadn't thought about the aspect of a signing class this year and that even being a possibility. So what does that look like in your head? I mean, a small class, a medium-sized class, like how do you even plan for that? And what do those guys do for 2 semesters? Just hit the weight room as hard as possible?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trying to shoot for that 30 number this class, and again, making sure they're the right fit for us, and kind of spreading that out a little bit. Every coach across the country would love to play with 21 and 22-year-olds. And so, hey, come here, get your redshirt year in, get in the weight room, focus on the academic side of things, get your feet wet, as everybody likes to say, and then bringing in some transfers next January and then another freshman class, and going through that spring ball in 2027. And so we're going to hit the ground running. We're not going to wait. These, Jason and Becky here and everybody are going to say, man, we may need to slow down a little bit, but I don't do that. We're going to go, and we're going to make sure that we do it the right way.
Yeah. Obviously, it's so hard to look, for people on the outside, it's probably hard to look at the big picture when you don't play a football game for 2 years, right? Or a year and a half, whenever you come in. So for you, how do you measure success in a year and a half's time span before you ever snap a football on a game day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, again, it goes into the day-to-day process, bringing in the right kids, bringing in the right coaches, but then having our measurables, whether it's in recruiting, whether it's still in the weight room, still doing those things. But we've got to continue the excitement, right? Everybody loved the announcement. People are going to, okay, we got a coach now, all right? But we've got to continue that excitement until we hit the field in 2027. And so people are going to see me at events. They're going to see me around town. They're going to get tired of seeing me and hearing me. But we've got to keep that excitement going, and can't let people kind of forget about it.
Yeah. I know a couple of years ago you went after the Minot State job and you got deep in that process. I mean, what has appealed to you about North Dakota? The fact that you've been, in the hunt for a couple of North Dakota jobs and now you get one. What's appealed to you about this area, and what excites you about the idea of being in a place like Bismarck?
I love the North. I spent a lot of time in Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma, but that heat in the summer, I love the people up here. I had a great experience in Montana. And then just the opportunities, right? I think coaching is very similar to people knowing you within the region. And so you kind of see that regional movement, but very excited to get back out there and to make sure that people, know who I am. And again, it was just, I think it was the right opportunity at the right time.
Obviously, staying within the Frontier Conference, there's so much that you already know about the conference itself. I mean, how much does that play into it? How much does that help you? How much does that make you feel more comfortable and confident as you approach something new, but also something that feels a little bit familiar in some ways?
Yeah, again, I'd be dumb to say if somebody offered me a $5 million contract, I wouldn't jump on it, at LSU or wherever, right? We're not sitting there, but I love small college athletics. I think our kids play for the right reasons, and so that's a big appeal to me. I've spent a lot of time, at the NAI level, Division II level, and things like that, and so I know the conference well. Travel will be easy because I know where we're staying and what we're doing. I know the other coaches, and so now it's just making sure that we can put a productive product on the field, and then a productive product here at Bismarck State College.
Yeah, obviously you've experienced the successes and the failures, the wins and the losses in the Frontier Conference. I mean, how do you build upon that experience when it comes to the on-the-field product?
Yeah.
And, especially when you're starting something from scratch, and a lot of people may say, hey, it's probably going to look rough the first year or two. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, well, I'll never walk in and to the administration or to the team or coaches and say, hey, it's gonna be tough for a couple years. No, we're here to compete and win, and that's what we're gonna do from day one. That's our expectation. That's our standard. They should expect the same thing from me and our staff. And so, I think the biggest thing is making sure, again, we build those. You got to be able to run the football in the Frontier, and you got to have depth. And so building that depth, that's why I don't want to wait for another signing class. We want to get kids here, get them in the weight room and get them involved with working out and on the field stuff, what we can do. But you've got to have the depth. You've got to have it at every position, and making sure we can build it the right way.
Yeah. So you guys will be able to do some sort of practice. It's just a matter of what that looks like once you have guys on campus.
I mean, we're probably not going to be banging heads for the first fall, but getting them out on the field, getting them into our offense, our defense, our special teams, things like that. but more importantly, making sure that class understands that they're setting the foundation, and the standard is high. The standard should be high for me, but making sure that we're doing it the right way. We're not gonna go 50-60%, and so getting those guys on board, and that pride, for the former alum.
When people look at Bismarck State College football, what is the brand or the identity going to be when it comes to the on-the-field product? I mean, what do you expect in that regards in terms of, are you carrying over a lot of the play style that you used at Rocky, or is that going to depend on, coordinators and other coaches, or what do you expect it to look like?
Well, number one, off the field, our kids are going to have great character. They're going to be held accountable. They're going to be relentless, and they're going to have great discipline. Same for coaches. I think when it comes to on the field, I think every coach, you can have whatever system you want, but a lot of it's going to dictate what kind of athlete you have, right? Is our quarterback a runner? Is he a thrower? Is he a young kid we got to go a little slower with? Is our secondary more of a man coverage team, or are they zone coverage? So we're going to have our set things of what we want to do. Defensively, we're going to try to stop a team from, if they're great at throwing the football, we're going to try to limit that. We're going to try to limit touches to their great players. And then offensively, getting the ball to our playmakers, and we're always going to trust our kids. So if that's going for a block punt, if that's a surprise onside kick, that'll be some stuff that are carried over. But I think every year, it doesn't matter where I'm at, we're going to reevaluate what do we have, what do we need, and then build it off of that.
Yeah. Obviously, the rest of the staff is always a big thing, right? When you start, but when you start from scratch, I know it's even probably harder to try to figure that out. So where do you even begin with that? I mean, like how do you begin with that, and what do you expect the timeline for that to look like?
Yeah, I think that'll come with the administration a little bit of when I can bring guys in, and I'm sure we'll add positions as we go. I'm always one of those, as even with guys that have worked with me in the past, I'm always going to support what their wants and their needs are. Whether that's some guys I've worked with in the past or that's new people, I think you've always got to look at, bringing people in from that are maybe in the area, or, used to be where, hey, they were alum here, may not have those things, but we're going to bring in great people that want to have fun, want to work extremely hard, and that they care about our kids. But those will be things that, we'll get a couple positions added, as we go, and keep doing it that way. But that's one of the most important things, is getting that staff here. One, because I like being around those guys, and I don't want to sit around by myself, I want to be around them and, pick up the basketball and play some noon ball, or go to a game together, or go out to eat together. So I like being around those coaches, and we won't have a shortage of people that want to be a part of this. I know that already. And so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, last couple of things, obviously, coming into, I know the Frontier is super competitive in Montana, and then, you look at the Dakotas and it's the same way, and you're surrounded by Dickinson State, Valley City State, Mayville State, you've got to compete with all those schools. One, I guess, is what is the challenge in that? What have you, learned from your experience in Montana of dealing with the same thing? But two, how much does that also excite you, knowing that you get to compete against those other teams?
Yeah, I think the biggest things, those are all really good established programs. Whether it's, all the way from Arizona to California to, North Dakota, South Dakota, we've got a big wide range of teams, coaches, players, recruits. It's a challenge because they're established, and the biggest thing is getting to that point, and then being able to put a good product on the field and making sure we're competing our butts off against them. And the wins will come if you do it the right way. I'm sure of it, and so excited for that. But know a lot of these guys, so it won't be anything. I've been to Montana Tech multiple times, and Coach Sampson over there, in Mayville State with Coach Larson, and so that's good that I'm not coming in blind. But I know we've got a long way to go, and that's okay. I love the challenge and the opportunity, and thankful for it.
Yeah. Last thing, you just mentioned the first step is learning, right? Learning about Bismarck State. Where do you start with that, and how excited are you about just the opportunity to learn more about this area and kind of what you're stepping into?
Well, I think the biggest thing is learning where my office is. Learning a couple good spots in town to go get a good meal. There's gonna be a lot of hours in this building and other buildings around here, but what I'll always do is become the recruit. I want to go on a campus tour. I want to see where our guys will live. I want to see, the things that can attract them to Bismarck. And so, again, it's just kind of learning everything as we go. It's not just focusing on one thing. You got to kind of cut your days up and, okay, here's the admissions process. Here's the academic side. Here's the athletic side. And then, I'm not worried about the ordering of equipment or, things like that. That'll be fine. But making sure we get the right people on board as our staff, and, it's a challenge, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.